Hi, hello, and welcome to NeuroSavvy Live. I'm so excited to be here with you today. I'm so excited to have this platform to share information that I've gained through working with incredible leaders across lots of different organizations. I'm Keshawn Hughes. I'm CEO and founder of NeuroSavvy Leadership. And we have a proven neuroscience framework to help organizations with retention, improve their retention, improve their productivity and engagement. And when I started this organization 5 years ago, I set out to help people feel healthier and happier at work. And I was reflecting on that thought recently, feeling healthy and happy at work, and how for me that is a revolutionary concept because I personally haven't always felt healthy and happy at work. And when I think about my parents, my ancestors, I'm sure they weren't always healthy and happy at work. So the fact that I now sit here and get to engage about topics related to leadership, topics related to our workplace today, and think about ways to help people do just that, it brings me so much joy and fulfillment and a sense of purpose. So what NeuroSavvy Live is a platform. I'm streaming live. You might be seeing me right now on LinkedIn or YouTube or Instagram. And this is something I'll do every couple of weeks, like I said, to share what I'm learning from organizations and from leaders in the workplace. I've had the pleasure through my organization to coach hundreds of leaders at this point. I say that humbly. And every time I'm before them, whether it's in a group coaching session, one-on-one, whether I'm conducting a leadership development workshop or experience, I let them know that I just take everything that they share with me, I process it myself to help improve my own self in my own life, and then I share it with others. So I find different ways to share, whether it's on this platform or whether it's in person, in my friendships, in my family. I'm going to find a way to share this wisdom and brilliance that's been given to me from so many. So I do have a collective mindset when it comes to that. And so that's what this platform will be. And I will admit, just being here on my own, just sitting here looking at myself talking, is not my favorite way to show up. I like to be in dialogue. I like to be with people. So I invite you to join me on this platform. Send me a message. If you want to talk about topics related to leadership, what's going on at work for you, and you want people to learn from your experience, learn from your ideas, please send me a message. Let me know that you want to join me on this platform, and we'll have that kind of conversation together. I invite you to do that. I want this to be a community space, a safe space, of course, but a community space where it's not just me sharing ideas. I'm definitely sharing ideas that didn't always come or originate from me. So know that, but also just make it be a platform for modeling healthy dialogue, modeling what it looks like to have a different perspective, right? We don't always agree. And I'm sure you are experiencing that at work today, or maybe even in your personal lives. You're going to show up and be in community with people or in spaces with people where you don't necessarily see things in the same way. And so I'm going to share strategies that are neuroscience based, that are practiced by many other leaders that I'm in community with, to help you show up as your best self, to help you if you do have goals of leveling up, of getting a promotion, or even finding a job in this season. It's not lost on me that many people are without work right now. It's a very chaotic season. It's a season where people are experiencing a lot of instability and insecurity. And I want to honor that and speak from the heart when it comes to that, on how to support and help you navigate this season. So with that, that's what I want to get to. Our topic for today is well-being, focusing on well-being. There's an article that I published through a platform that I write for called Reworked, where they help organizations and leaders reimagine work, the ideal way that people, humans, need to show up to work. So I'm going to post that link now. And it's an article that I wrote at the beginning of this year, January 25. We are already in March. We're already headed towards the end of the first quarter of 2025. And the title of the article is Leadership at a Crossroads, Thriving Through 2025. And I just revisited it today, just looked through it to see what my thoughts were. These were my thoughts of what I had in December of 2024 coming into 2025, just downloading and processing all of the different ideas, like I said, that I'd learned from other leaders in organization, and trying to condense it into 3 topics, 3 ideas that could be utilized strategically to help me as the CEO and founder of NeuroSavvy Leadership navigate this year successfully, but also to share it with others. And these are the tips that I share to help people get through it. And one of those tips. There are 3 different ideas. One is about AI, the AI revolution, and ensuring that we are well equipped to respond successfully to that. The other idea that I share in the article is related to communication, ensuring that we are able to communicate effectively, particularly in having difficult conversations in this season. So that's an idea that I share in the article. And thirdly, what the topic that I want to focus on today, what I want to start our NeuroSavvy live conversations about, is the foundation of well-being, of well-being. And I'm going to respond to comments. Hi, Rhonda. I'm so happy to see you here. Thank you for joining. So when I see your comment come up, I might break for a minute and just respond to that, because I'm so appreciative of you being on here. Rhonda says, yes, the uncertainty is stressful. This is a great topic. Thank you. Thank you for saying that, Rhonda. Thank you for encouraging me in that way. But yes, the uncertainty definitely is very stressful. It causes distress in our brains, our bodies, our nervous systems. There are different types of stress. Some stress is good, right? They call it eustress, EUSTRESS. That's the stress we need to get up in the morning, to put one foot in front of the other, to brush our teeth. Hopefully we're all doing that, taking care of our dental hygiene in the morning, and all of our other needs. We need that kind of stress to get us going, to move us forward. But then we can move into a space of distress, where we're experiencing chronic instability, chronic anxiety, questioning, discomfort, confusion. And when we experience that for long periods of time, it is not useful to ourselves or anyone that we lead. And I touch on this in the article. It can create experiences where we show up in the workplace as leaders and we don't even believe in ourselves. There's a statistic that I quote in the article that I talked about, Leadership at a Crossroads, How to Thrive Through 2025, where it says that 71% of CEOs in organizations have imposter syndrome. They are dealing with imposter syndrome right now. So if you think about yourself, whether you're a CEO or in your organization, who is at the top, the tippity top of the hierarchy, that person questions their own decisions. They question whether or not they should even be in that seat making decisions. They're very self-doubtful. They're very doubtful of themselves, questioning themselves. And I don't want to debate the merits of imposter syndrome here. I've listened to lots of thought leaders talk about, is imposter syndrome even real? Is it something that can even be diagnosed? You call it a syndrome, but is it something you have for your whole life? No, it's not necessarily diagnosable, but it is a named experience that people are sharing in surveys. They're outwardly saying, I have imposter syndrome. So they are labeling themselves with this experience. And think about how many people have it but don't know it, don't know how to label it, or have it and don't share that. They know what they're experiencing when they show up to work every day to make decisions that in fact impact you, your families, the people that you're in community with. They know they're experiencing this self-doubt, this debilitating self-doubt, and yet they don't name it. They don't share it. But these people were bold and brave enough to share it in survey results that I quoted in the article. So I just want to speak to that and just hold space for that right now. If you are a leader who is dealing with imposter syndrome, or if you are in an organization that is led by a leader who is dealing with imposter syndrome, your well-being is at stake. Somebody needs to think about it. Somebody needs to prioritize it. Someone needs to consider ways of navigating work and the decision making and the collaboration and the things that we do every day when we show up to work, how to be effective, how to be our best selves, how to be successful. And imposter syndrome is something you can turn around from. I coach leaders on that daily who vulnerably express that to me. I'm able to help them, support them, and coach them through that to where they can have a different mindset and different idea and belief about themselves. That you are meant to be in the seat that you hold. You have influence in that seat. You are powerful. You have different types of levers of power that you can activate to not only make this seat successful for you, but for all of the people that you're leading, right? So I just wanted to speak to that, name that, give you some time to pause. Is this something that you have dealt with? Share it in the comments if you have. Is this something you need help with as a leader? You want to share that confidentially? Please feel free to do that with me. My coaching services are confidential, and if I'm not the right coach for you, I can share different resources of people who you can work with, because that's something else that I point out in the article that I wrote, is that people, particularly people at higher ranking levels of leadership, need confidential spaces to share these experiences that they're having, to share the negative thoughts they're having, the negative self-beliefs that they hold about themselves in order to transform it. The very first and most, I would say, important step in getting through any obstacle, in getting through a season of self-doubt or a long-term just belief about yourself that is negative, is admitting it, is having an awareness of it, is being able to name it so that you can change it, so that people can work with you. Trustworthy people who are skilled and experienced in doing so can help you get to a different place, a better place, right? So I wanted to start off by naming that, the imposter syndrome that people are dealing with, and hopefully give you a way of a perspective of thinking about what you're dealing with in your organization. If there is challenge right now, that's difficulty, think about what the leaders who are making the decisions might be essentially navigating through. Maybe that'll help you feel a little bit better. Maybe it won't, but at least it's somewhere to start, right? Another idea that I wanted to express today also are just the 8 aspects of well-being. And particularly, I want to take it back to now we are in a time where we are hearing about hundreds of thousands of people in the United States who are losing their jobs, losing their livelihood. I want to speak from a place of relatedness because I experienced that in 2020 during the very onset of the pandemic. It was devastating for me. It was devastating in many ways to my identity, just how I saw myself. I've worked since I was 15 years old, showed up somewhere to clock in and give my best. And so I had to really think of myself differently and consider what my values were and how I was going to move forward in a way that was not only, of course, best for me, definitely always keeping my own health and needs in mind, but also I'm a wife and mother, and I contribute to the household through my income. So how I was going to navigate that in the best way where all of our needs were met. And thankfully, I was able to do that. I really anchored into, I would say, my belief system, my values. I was clear on what those were. Luckily, at that point in my leadership journey, I had had coaching and therapy, which I highly recommend to people if you have not tried it. Or please consider that for yourselves if you have the resources or means to do so. Please invest in yourself in that way, because it's really important when the shift hits the fan. When shift happens, okay, it's important to have those solid anchors of mental help and mental things that will provide you with mental stability, emotional stability. So I wanted to talk about what those 8 aspects of well-being are. And even if you just Google or look on ChatGPT and see what those are, let me know that you are familiar with what I'm talking about. The 8 aspects of well-being are physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual, environmental, financial, occupational, and social. So there are 8 different aspects. So at any point in your life, you might be hitting on all cylinders. If there's a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the best, you might be 5s and 4 out of those 8. And that gives you a sense of what needs to be worked on or what needs to be brought in to support those other aspects. You see what I'm saying? Maybe you're rating yourself as a 5 in all 8 aspects of those well-being. And if so, that's wonderful. That's something to be celebrated and something to be leveraged, hopefully, that you can utilize to help others who might not be in the space that you're in. But I wanted to add that food for thought as well. When you think about your well-being, when you think about how you're showing up in your life personally and professionally, what's missing? What's being nourished? What's in a good place for you at the time? And doing that through seeing ourselves through those 8 different aspects can be helpful, because right now, like I said, with so much instability professionally for people, the financial and occupational aspects of our well-being are negatively affected right now. You might be in a good financial situation or a good occupational situation, but when you turn on the news, or when you talk to people, your neighbors, the people in your family, your friends, they're not. They're being affected. And that affects us as human beings. A part of us being human is being in community and engaging with others. And we usually have different levels of empathy there. So we care about those who we are in community with, and we don't want to see them suffer, but people are suffering now. And so I just have a few coaching questions that I thought of that I wanted to share with you to help you. If this is a moment for you to reflect, please do so. One of the things that I love most about being a coach, about showing up and coaching people, is that I know that that time we have blocked off on the calendar, whether it's 30 minutes, 45, an hour together. I even do some group coaching where we're together for 90 minutes. I know in that segment of time that you as an individual will have time to ask yourself some reflection questions. You might not have any time at any other point in your life because you're so busy, because you're so focused, you're so into what you're doing, you're into being productive, you're into giving so much of yourself, and you don't have the time. Maybe the time hasn't been made for you to reflect on how you can be more well, how you can improve your well-being. So use this time as that, okay? And I'm going to ask some coaching questions. So in the sphere of the financial well-being, like I said, there are 8 aspects, financial being one of them. What are immediate financial priorities that you can focus on right now? Just your immediate attention. What are those things that need to be focused on right now, that need your immediate attention, that are financial? Oftentimes, what can happen when we are in a state of distress, that's the part of our brain, it's the middle part of our brain that can be an emotional overwhelm and overload. So by someone asking you this question, it brings the focus of your brain to the front, right here behind the forehead, which is the part of our brain that focuses on the future, that is problem solving, that helps to regulate our emotions. Reflecting and asking ourselves these questions, or being asked these kinds of questions, helps to regulate and give you a sense of stability, even if it's just for the moment, right? So if you're in financial distress, I just want you to take a moment to consider what is needs to be met immediately. What are your financial needs that need to be met immediately? And write those down or take note of those to provide yourself with a sense of calm. Rhonda says, I totally agree with naming it and then shifting my focus to my best case scenario. Absolutely. That's the way to do it. When we do that, we're literally tapping into different parts of our brain and nervous system. We're allowing ourselves to work in our most evolved, most effective ways. We're utilizing our leadership skills and capabilities that everyone has within them when we can shift ourselves. Because like I said, shift happens. The shift has hit the fan. You can any way you want to use that. Let's use that, right? And so as shift is happening around us, we want to be able to control what it is that we can control, and typically that is our own bodies. Typically, our own minds. If we can't control our bodies, then can we control our thoughts? No one has to know what you're thinking unless you share it. No one knows that. So can you control that, right? Another coaching question I want to ask are, what small actions help you feel grounded, even in uncertainty? What small actions are those? For me, it's breathing, focusing on my breath. I oftentimes, in coaching sessions, if allowed, I ask my coaching clients if they'd like me to lead them in a breath exercise, a breathing exercise. And so we can do that. There are different ways that we can breathe that activate different parts of ourselves. If we need more energy, we can breathe a certain way. And if we need to calm down overwhelm, we can breathe in a certain way. One tip that I want to share today is, if you can make your exhales longer than your inhales. So if you inhale for 3 and exhale for 5 to 7 seconds, that can automatically soothe your nervous system in your body. So that can put you in your executive functioning brain so you can make decisions and anchor yourself in the moment. That's something that I offer as well. Also, another question, think about what spaces make you feel safe, supported, and inspired. What spaces are those that make you feel safe, supported, and inspired? Is it in the arms of your loved ones? Is it at your favorite park, by the water? Is it in the shower? Is it in your bed, in your car? My car is one of my safe spaces. It's my prayer closet, okay? And it's a space where I just feel most open to just talk out loud, affirm myself, scream if I need to scream to let out some emotion. And it's where I feel safest oftentimes. And so think about what spaces there are for you to help you feel that way. That's a way to tap into your environmental well-being. Okay. So we've talked about 8 different aspects of well-being. We've talked about experiencing imposter syndrome by leaders and others. What other ideas or questions do you have related to well-being that you think would be important to cover today? And if not today, soon. Let me know. And I don't want to take up too much time. When I'll come on here, I'll talk for about 20 to 30 minutes and then bow out. If you didn't catch this live, of course, you can watch the recording. Please share it with people that you feel like it would be helpful to. I want you to consider ways that you can tap into also. What really helped me through my season of job loss and transition was tapping into my spiritual and emotional well-being. Those anchored and grounded me. So I invite you to do that. Think about what values or beliefs help you find meaning in difficult seasons, and consider what practices help you feel connected to something that's greater than you. What helps you feel connected to something greater than you? For me, that's my organization, NeuroSavvy Leadership. Helping people feel healthy and happy or at work, that's greater than me. That's greater than me. For me, it goes backwards in time and forwards. It helps the me that was at a job and who felt belittled and who felt abused in some ways, in some situations. It helps the future me be in platforms and spaces where I'm having conversations about making work healthier and happier for people. And then hopefully it helps whoever is tuning in and whoever is engaging with me. So that's a way to do that. That's something that's bigger than me that I'm able to tap into. I'd love to hear what you have tapped into that's bigger than you, that helps you transition during very difficult times. So with that, if you want to join me again on this platform, I'll be here every 2 weeks on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Our next conversation will be March 20th, and we'll talk about communication. What are some communication skills we can use to show up as our best selves? mostly at work, of course. This will be a work-focused conversation, but then also thinking about how you can show up as your best self everywhere. Because there's no one part of our brain and body that's just dedicated to work. It's integrated, right? The ways we show up at work typically are the ways we show up in other aspects of our lives. Although many of us try to and want to and are able to successfully compartmentalize, they do interweave and interconnect in ways sometimes that are hidden to us. So when we want to work on our leadership skills in one aspect, please know that those are transferable to other parts of our being and ourselves in the ways we show up. So we will talk about communication skills, particularly the type of communication skills that are needed to navigate conversations with people who don't agree with us, who are on opposite ends of a spectrum about a belief system of thoughts, a way of showing up and being. What can we tap into to show up and use our authentic voices to have influence and success in those scenarios? That's what we'll talk about next time. But thank you so much for joining. Before we leave, I want to share a quiz, a really fun quiz for you. I'll share this in the comments that you can take to identify what your leadership brain print is. So all of us are unique in how we lead. You might not even think of yourself as a leader because you might not be a people manager at work, but you are a leader. Everyone is a leader, right? And so what is your unique leadership brain print? It's like your fingerprint. There's only one in the universe that's like it. And this quiz helps you identify what that is, what your unique leadership traits are that you should really anchor into and be aware of and utilize for success. And then it also helps reveal some areas of growth, some growth opportunities. So use that quiz. Let me know what you think. Join me again. Again, my name is Keshawn Hughes. I'm CEO and founder of NeuroSavvy Leadership. You can follow me at Be NeuroSavvy on Instagram. You can follow me at LinkedIn at Keshawn Hughes or find NeuroSavvy Leadership. I'll be excited to connect with you. Again, if you want to come onto this platform and have a dialogue with me, let's have a conversation about leadership and what you're experiencing at work. Let's do it. Let's do it. Now's the time. There's no time like the present and hopefully the future, the next couple of weeks coming up. Okay. Thank you so much. Let me know what you think about this, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.